This week on Hermitcraft.
Craft, oh jeez! Oh snap, oh gee, I'm going to die in the introduction, oh my goodness, oh no!
Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is LoyXP, and before the server is set upon by piglin brutes in the 1.16.2 update, there are some more friendly rivalries developing across the server. Whether it's Cub and False testing each other's archery skills, the standoff tournament beginning, or Corrales and VintageBeef's turtle-fueled turf war, there's certainly a spirit of competition. But we also have some long-awaited collaboration, Joe Hills and Cleo teaming up for Hermit Zoo Giggle Fits, Impulse tearing a hole in bedrock for Iscal, and the first wide-eyed visitor to the Upside Down. Do you like it better when the Hermits compete or collaborate? Let us know in the comments, and yes, both is a valid answer. With that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Zombie Cleo and the sleep paralysis demon she creates for Iscal.
Oh my goodness, what have I done? That is not normal. Why have I done?
Commissioned to create a redstone mascot for his Omega Clown of Doom, she once again does wonders with armor stands, even if the result looks a whole lot like a Super Meat Boy post-puberty. A Super Meat Man, if you will. Her creations are a tad less cursed when it comes to the Hermit Zoo exhibit, where they plan on putting together a diorama for every Hermitcraft member. Joe Hills' one, for example, is a Mystery Science Theater 3000 screen, from whence he can riff on the rest of the server, or at least its vintage episodes. And if you're unfamiliar, Mystery Science Theater is basically the Hermitcraft recap, but for bad movies.
What if we just, go back and watch Asuma's Season 1 videos and just, mock them? No, that is... We'll probably get copyright struck. We need to go for somebody who isn't gonna... We need to find something in the public domain. Oh no, this is how they started!
Luckily for them, Joe had recently spent a lot of time taking down the jungle trees around the nether-themed gaming district, for which Etho gifts him a netherite axe, so they have plenty of material for boardwalks, and I expect there'll be a whole bundle of sticks that can turn into armor stands too. Speaking of armor stands, a fair number of those are being beaten up right now thanks to Azuma's standoff minigame tournament. X even teaches Corrales how to play that one, well enough for him to win a match in a double KO. Though the jungle takes a beating from him as well, seeing as how Azuma clears out an area for a towering build in his base, and the footprint of it is pretty massive.
Well, now I think you'll be able to see where this is going, as it's going to be the same the whole way around.
For the spare logs, X develops a flushable cocoa bean farm rigged to a minecart elevator for convenient replanting. Zedaf and Cubfan do their round of standoff as well, and somehow the inventor of the game loses this time. Zedaf brings home not the gold in this case, but some intricate logistics at least. Through forcing two nether portals to crisscross into one another on a toggleable redstone button, he has rigged his own nether hub room to allow him to teleport anywhere between several access portals within the Cave of Contraptions, even if slow-acting portals are a tad too slow-acting to compare with regular running.
That's what we're going to try and do. Explode a portal from another dimension. Let's, we light that. We push that. It didn't work! It didn't work! It didn't work.
Quite a different way of entering the nether comes to GoodTimesWith Scar, and for the first time fully, thanks in large to his cat Jelly falling asleep on the drill control panel.
What did you do, Jelly? The death eye into the nether. Seriously, that is one of the scariest things that I have ever seen in Minecraft.
Taking advantage of the situation, Scar installs a debris elevator to the side of the drill site to evacuate any and all nether resources from the red fog for future processing. Though one does wonder, how is he getting cobblestone from the nether? Unlike his pet though, Scar doesn't plan to be asleep at the wheel and works out an imposing voice for all his mayoral disapprovals, as well as a deal with Mojang to add sideways chains into the game, or at least that's what he chooses to believe.
And I'm going to pretend that Mojang listened to me, and I'm going to co-opt it like a good politician and tell everybody that it was my doing.
Tango Tech, in the meantime, is building his own nether under the commercial area, or at least a nether fortress like no other. It's a part of the decked out game he is making, and the sheer overall progress he manages to accomplish on it this week is straight up unrecapable, though he sure tries with his many time lapses. Some redstone is added in for the item shop, the artifact auctions, and an artifact and card recycling system, as well as a 6-hour timer that will output a compass leading to a lodestone treasure for those hermits who weren't lucky enough to find one in the community area. And to emphasize the threat of the pursuers, Tango puts a whole Ravager up into a viewing platform at the ceiling of the room, just so it can leer menacingly as you complete your pre-dungeon shopping.
Sell areas with, you know, some random people who, yeah, they didn't make it. They didn't make it because they just weren't cut out for prison life, you know?
XB Crafted is planning to move up in the housing market, quite literally, by moving into his floating capsule base from the starter house in the town of Casa. But while his feet are still on the ground, he plots out some pathways, digs out the dry riverbed for a connection to the ocean, and naturalizes the artificial lake nearby. With all that work done, he spends some recreation time at Cubfan's Pyramid, getting himself on the board for the Open Sesame game, and reaches stage 4 on the 1-stack challenge despite the arrows not always pointing the way you want them.
Man, level 15 is nuts. That's just crazy. I don't think anyone's gonna do that one.
The range gets some more action from Cub himself and False Symmetry going up against him. Their race inspires Cubfan to install a much bigger scoreboard, one taking into account the harder difficulties and challenge runs. As for people who can't get a rival to throw down with them, Cub installs a new archery minigame called The Machine. It's essentially a shootout simulator where the player and the robots take turns trying to headshot each other. A perfect bullseye will score the player a win, while an imperfect one an annoying lethal return shot from a dispenser. Alternatively, you can rage against it.
It's happening. There we go. Machine has been defeated, ladies and gentlemen. And we doubled our diamonds. Thank you very much. You'll see the machine says, "So you won. Big deal. Take your diamonds and get out of here." And then he has, you got lucky. I wasn't even trying that hard anyways. So...
Not content with just the shooty, False Symmetry goes on to take out a whole end city block by block in the name of restocking her nether-themed shop. It's quite fitting to see her level that tower to the ground, seeing as how she already blasted the newer area of her base to the bedrock too.
I'm not going to rush it, but hopefully we'll have something in there within the next couple weeks, hopefully. That's the plan. I actually don't know if that's possible. That might be asking too much of myself.
Having been commissioned to remove more than just the one bedrock block by Iskall, Impulse SV puts in a frankly heroic effort to create a sizable crater in the nether ceiling. Dropping a bombshell of an invoice to match, he returns to the hero of the village farm to add more freshly bred villagers and explains a couple of 1.16 fixes to the breeder. Before he heads back to plan his next wave of farms, he drops off some wither roses for False, buys some bottles of enchanting for Tango, and collects the cool half stack of diamond blocks Iskall left him for the bedrock job.
32 blocks, and he must have been happy with the price because he says thank you with an exclamation point, and it's all in caps, which means he's shouting that from the rooftops to how thankful he is.
Iskall has to do some extra mining to scrape together the diamonds, but once the debt is paid, he gets to work deepening the crater with TNT minecarts, although he quickly learns to only use one at a time.
And I don't really have any greater plan. I just want to see what we can create using this method. Like I said, this may go terribly wrong. It went terribly wrong. What?
The true purpose of the bedrock crater is to allow him to build a nether base that continues through the bedrock and up towards the gold farm. Back in the overworld, his server mates aren't chewing through leaves at the rate he expected, although he suspects they might be holding off in an attempt to snipe the jackpot boxes. So he signs himself up under the guise of Iskall Man in case he feels like doing some good deeds for himself. But he'll collect green stuff for other people too, since he's heard on the grapevine that Mumbo is considering coating his industrial area in slime. It's a play to keep the area both spawn-proofed and springy. By Mumbo's logic, taking no fall damage is worth turning the entire region into a bouncy castle. The question remains if there'll be any floor space left visible soon, because Mumbo fills up another stretch of it with a wall-to-wall melon and pumpkin farm.
I would say that's a job pretty much well done. I've really enjoyed recording this Hermitcraft episode despite the fact that it has been split over 2 locations. I've broken a keyboard, I've lost a mouse, and many other things. It's been fun in the end.
His nether farms are looking no less industrial, because instead of using a floor of hoppers to gather the drops from his basalt farm, he rigs up a piston feed tape conveyor belt to carry the drops to a slimmer collection area. He also receives Iskall's response to the sign left at his proposed Nether Fortress farm site, although the reply is just as cryptic as the original question.
He is the only person. Does that mean yes? I never know with Iskall. Oh, I know nothing. But it sounds like, oh my goodness, that guy is so close. Oh, oh!
Another fortress rises in the overworld as Rendog repurposes the Instamine foundation of a piglin bastion to coat the Tattoo Ren Mesa in a layer of blackstone. Settling on a Razeworks concrete farm design to rebuild inside his Jawa sandcrawler, he buys all the concrete making supplies he can find at the shopping district and starts raising Darth Vader's fortress. It is but a skeleton of its true self for now, but it still looks like the Eiffel Tower's goth brother.
This is the most amount of progress we have ever made in a single episode of Hermitcraft. Towering over the hermit-infested jungle, a massive, looming fortress of immense power, or at least the foundations of it.
Jevin picks a different structure to completely annihilate, the Guardian Monument, the one he's been using as a farm, and also the one he wanted to upgrade significantly to make more productive. Even if not quite finished, this leaves him a whole lot of spare prismarine that Jev reuses right away on the patterns and pathways for his ocean base.
We've got the rose, and then it kind of switches over to more of a prismarine brick look, which is 2-1-2-1 pattern. I just decided that, you know, like, this part needed to almost be its own facets.
Having expanded crop production with his villagers, Kiralis looks to grow his commercial platform. And since the Looky Looky at My Bookie shop turned out to be quite a bestseller, it only makes sense to provide people something to munch on while they flip the pages. Luckily, a giant cake rectangle fits right in with the modern style of the store, but while the word cookie fits right in with existing naming conventions, this reporter refuses to address it as anything but the look at my cake shop.
So this is what this is supposed to be. This is like a 3/4 of a cake. This is a half a cake and a little bit of a slice, which just been sliced and is just laying down. And
as a bonus, we finally get to see Kiralis' perspective of that time he literally fell for Beef's insidious trap.
I know! What? That is not even Matilda! Oh wow, lame dad! Slain by vengeance! I didn't even have the time to react!
However, it comes with a twist ending, where we see Kiralis sign Beef up for every service in Ethos' Shady Ease store. Beef manages to avoid the wrath of Kiralis for now, adding more structures, roads, flickering neon lights, and vending machines to the cityscape of his cyberpunk base project. But since he and Etho have a previous arrangement, Etho snitches on Kiralis. The next strike could come from either side, and Beef seems as paranoid as we were about the mysterious diamond ore block left in his house, but he takes pity on the turtle originally caught in the crossfire and releases Carlos into the wild.
And these guys appeared, and then I'm gonna name him. I just so happen to have some name tags here, and then he's gonna be my ramen noodle salesman. I feel like the cape at the top is like something you'd see in like a sci-fi movie, you know?
Etho still gets to prank somebody, since Azuma signed up for pest relocation a while ago, which means he gets a bunch of endermites relocated into his base.
The tactical tickle ready for Azuma. Awesome, so we got a few friends waiting for him there when he logs on.
Tactical tickle? Who on earth could have done such a thing, eh? I watched his video and I was like, oh, I'm not going mad. I've been hearing these things. I'm like, I haven't thrown an ender pearl. Where did that come from?
Etho himself relocates to the Nether, where a spot 4,000 blocks out gives him an ideal location to set up farms, starting with a double blaze spawner in a convenient Nether fortress. He'd better be careful what he wishes for though, because on the Hermitcraft server, wishes can come true, especially when what you wish for is for B-dubs to have bigger eyes. B-dubs' eyes grew 3 sizes that day, and so did his wallet after picking up his share of profits from the Lamps Plus shop.
What I truly wanted for the world, and I said the first thing that came to my mind, B-dubs, I wish your eyes were bigger.
By the way, is it me, or are those eyes absolutely terrifying? What has B-dubs done to his skin?
He's also been very busy around his base area, farming supplies for the castle and adding natural details to his picturesque town. But then his life gets turned upside down as he goes to visit Grian's latest pet project in the Nether. Taking instantly to the theme of the upside down, B-dubs builds a starter house attached to the ceiling and immediately has trouble getting in the front door. But that doesn't matter much, since the door gets blown off along with the walls when Grian asks for someone to sleep.
Now's our chance.
Can anyone sleep, please?
Oh no.
You knew! I thought you might, so I had to give it a go.
Oh, you did it on purpose.
Back in the overworld, B-Dubs gets organised, both at the sawmill where he stores his wood supplies, and at the campaign office of the town hall, where he sets up his own self-funded diamond throne. And finally there's Grian, as his sad and alone montage is literally in the same episode where he blows up the first person to join him in the nether.
So I'd like to just sum up my experience of being alone in the nether here.
I guess the karma balances out when he gets Zedaf to kill him repeatedly for more heads to accompany the invitations. To add insult to injury, Grian's gold farm dropped the rates quite significantly when it realised just how much building a flipped mansion on the nether ceiling added to the available spawning space. Luckily, that's nothing a few carpets and a giant time commitment can't fix. And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixorifs. My podcast about Minecraft just hit 100 episodes, so if you'd like to tune in and hear me talk to my friend Joel about Minecraft every week, a link is in this week's End Screen Theatre. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.